Hello folks, it's the WC here with a why the Boston Celtics lost video. In this video, I will be going over the Boston Celtics performance in Game 7 against the Eastern Conference champion, now Eastern Conference champion, Miami Heat, who will be going on to face the Denver Nuggets in the 2023 NBA Finals. I will talk about coaching moves, front office moves, roster moves, and ultimately what the Boston Celtics probably need to do in the NBA draft. I'm looking forward to their prospects for the 2023-2024 season. Okay, so let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room. We're talking about Game 7 against the Miami Heat and the players' performances. Now let's just go down the list. The first name I'm going to talk about is Jayson Tatum. Alright, Jayson Tatum's performance in Game 7 against the Miami Heat. He had 42 minutes, 14 points, 11 boards, and 4 assists. Now that's a pale in comparison to his 51-point performance that he put on against the 76ers just last round. Alright, keep in mind that the Boston Celtics were down 3-0 in this series, and according to the numbers, all right, any team that's down 3-0 in any series, as far as basketball goes, is 51-0. All right, so the Miami Heat's prospects of finishing off the Celtics was very, very high. Like, there's never been a team in NBA history that has been down 3-0 that has come all the way back. And this Boston Celtics team kind of made me believe it. I mean, I was just in the belief that they were going to be able to do it, but they weren't able to pick it up. They weren't able to pull it off. And then looking at Jayson Tatum's performance, I think that Jayson Tatum might have rolled his ankle early in Game 7. I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, y'all can correct me down in the comments. Looking at the rest of the team, looking at Jaylen Brown's performance, he had 43 minutes, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. And then third in line there when it comes to minutes was Derrick White, 18 points, 36 minutes, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist for Derrick White. Looking at Marcus Smart, 35 minutes, 9 points. And it's, it's like, I mean, I could go down the list but I'm gonna tell you like this. Let me say it like this. One of the ones that is very, very glaring looking at this Game 7 performance is Malcolm Brogdon. We talking about the 6th man of the year. The 6th man of the year played 7 minutes and scored no points. Like, I don't know if Malcolm Brogdon was hurt. I'm thinking that maybe he was tweaked up and a little messed up. And when you get later in these series, it's like the rotations are very, very slim and very, very sharp. So I'd expect for the rotations to be very, very tight. But we're talking about the 6th man of the year. And the 6th man of the year played 7 minutes in Game 7. He played 1 minute. He played 1 minute. I was going to say 1 minute more than. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense, man. It's just so bad. If he's hurt, then he's hurt. But I mean, you can't expect for Grant Williams to come in there and perform like he's the 6th man of the year. That's not what his role was. Looking at the roster as it is, like, are there any type of specific weaknesses that the Boston Celtics have? All right. I mean, looking at the Game 7 performances, like I said, let's go over a few more performances, and then I'll speak to that. Al Horford, 34 minutes, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. No, 8 rebounds, 8 points for Al Horford in Game 7. Like, these are bad numbers, man. Where was Marcus Smart? 35 minutes. I think I said his numbers. 35 minutes, 9 points. I mean, maybe Boston just kind of ran out of gas. Like, I mean, it's a very possible thing. All right. Looking at the coaching moves, man. Let's go straight to coaching. Do I think that they need to make a coaching move with Mazzulla? I don't think so. I think that Mazzulla got the best of these guys, man. I think that they kind of woke up towards the end. They shouldn't have dropped 2 games in Boston. Like, that's just not necessarily having your guys prepared. and maybe they were tired from that 7-game series that they had with the 76ers. Maybe that was a coaching thing, or maybe it was just a strength of players thing, where it's like they needed time to recover, or they needed someone like Brogdon to come in and just kind of fill in the blanks, and they weren't able to get that the first 2 games. But they were able to turn it around, and that just shows the type of resolve that the Boston Celtics have with this young group. You guys got to remember, like, Marcus Smart is still a young guy. He's still fairly young. Tatum and Brown are still young guys. Like, they still are young dudes. The Boston Celtics are not going anywhere. They're going to be right in the thick of it. As long as they keep that nucleus of Brown and Tatum for sure intact. And Smart, like I said, these guys are not young. These guys are not old, but they're not dusty, and that's the good thing for a Boston Celtics fan. Even though that they got to let you guys down, in Game 7, it's nothing to hang your hat on. This team battled back. They understood what the magnitude of the situation was, and they probably needed their backs against the wall as a win-or-go-home situation for them to really perform, to understand that, this Heat team is put together really, really well. Now, as far as like the roster, looking at their needs, maybe in the NBA draft, and then leaking forward to next year. All right, let's go into that. I don't really see too many weaknesses with the Boston Celtics outside of their bench. Let's go over their bench. Hauser, Pritchard, Cormit, Muscala. Like, these guys played a few minutes in Game 7, but that doesn't sound strong, does it? Robert Williams has been, in and out of the lineup as the Celtics have gone smaller during the playoffs. And I already mentioned Grant Williams. Derrick White has been really big for them this year as well, but he's taken on the role of being a starter. Like I said, Brown and Tatum are your bookends. Like, you're clearly not getting rid of them, but what can they really get to really supplement that? Do they need another wing player? Do they need like a true point? Like, I think that that's probably what it is. Like, Marcus Smart is a formidable point, but is he a true point? Like, they have to start asking those questions. And maybe they look for a point guard in free agency. Maybe they look for a point guard in the draft. There's plenty of guys that can run a half-court set in the draft. This draft class is pretty solid for point guards. Maybe they'll be able to look at that. Like I said, I don't see any front office moves. I don't see any movings of Mazzulla. I don't see any of that stuff going on, because he was able to get his team to respond, but he wasn't able to get his team to the NBA Finals. And Boston just didn't play consistent enough during the series until it was a little bit too late for them to get there. I thought they was going to pull it out in Game 7, but they weren't. So let me know how you guys feel about the Boston Celtics playoff run. Was it a good playoff run? Jayson Tatum showed up at times. Brown showed up at times, but it looked like Brogdon was just kind of hurt during this series. And when you have the 6th man of the year just kind of hurt, man, I'm not going to sit up here and act like it wasn't a factor. So let me know how you guys feel down below. And this is the reason why the Boston Celtics lost.